What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including Vince McMahon calling a top secret meeting, as Brock Lesnar signed a deal with UFC or EA, Bill Goldberg bursts into tears, John Cena injures an actor, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's do the intro and get straight into the news. Now our first story looks at WWE holding a top secret emergency meeting. Now rumors are coming in that the WWE has held an emergency meeting with a WWE Hall of Famer. While the meeting has been described as top secret, word is already filtering out about it, with TalkSport's Alex McCarthy tweeting, "Mick Foley told me yesterday that he met with Vince McMahon just a few weeks ago for a top secret meeting and details will follow soon." Alex McCarthy is one of several go-to sources when it comes to so-called leaked stories, much like Sports Illustrated's Justin Barrasso. Obviously, if the meeting was considered top secret, McMahon would not want Foley mentioning it, or would he? What's more likely is that the WWE has a new project coming, but the question remains on whether it's in-ring related, such as when Foley debuted the 24/7 Championship in 2019, or a new series on the WWE Network. Still, why is this considered top secret? Next up, has Brock Lesnar signed a new deal with EA or the UFC? Fans of the EA video game UFC 4 know that there's a new Hollywood vanity pack coming out featuring 3 new players to add to the game's roster, one of them being former UFC champion Brock Lesnar. Now there's speculation as to whether Lesnar, who is currently believed to be a free agent after his WWE contract expired, has signed a deal with EA, the UFC, or even both. Dave Meltzer discussed this in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, noting Brock Lesnar has been added to the new EA Sports UFC 4 video game, so that means he must have made a deal with UFC or EA for the game. Naturally, if Brock signed a deal with the UFC, talks will turn to whether it's a merchandising deal or a sign that Lesnar plans on returning to the Octagon. Rumors have been flying of a possible one-time fight for Lesnar against Jon Jones. Next up, John Cena legitimately injures an actor. Now, to quote Marvel Comics hero The Thing, as well as former WWE superstar CM Punk, it's clobbering time. At least that's what John Cena should have said during a recent appearance on the talk show spoof program The Eric Andre Show. The 16-time world champion performed a stunt on the show's host Eric Andre, where he threw him into a shelf, sending Andre through the unit. Unfortunately, Andre suffered a concussion, but during an appearance on the Jimmy Kimmel Show, it was revealed it wasn't due to Cena, but due to a mistake by the stage crew. John Cena did the stunt right, but we prepped for the stunt wrong. That metal shelf came over and clocked me in the head and I got concussed, and I went to the hospital. I went to the hospital immediately. I had like a Bugs Bunny, Fred Flintstone bump on the side of my head. Taking bumps isn't as easy as it looks, and Andre isn't the first Hollywood star to find this out the hard way. Next up, Kenny Omega is getting a mega push. Kenny Omega fans should be happy to know it looks like the talk of a mega push for Omega in AEW's second year is going to turn into a reality. You may recall AEW's Matt Jackson discussing how Omega would play a significant role in AEW's second year, and recently Dave Meltzer said much the same. Judging by Omega's performance in his match against Sonic Hiss on the 21st October Dynamite, Omega is getting a big push. Now, in case you missed it, Omega squashed him after 2 moves in the tournament match held to determine the #1 contender for the AEW Championship, and some fans felt Omega's facial gestures after the match hint at a heel turn. Either that was recreating the SpongeBob Kid meme. And many contemporary wrestling fans consider Kenny Omega to be one of the best performers in the world and a wrestler with unlimited potential. However, Omega's fans who watched him excel in New Japan Pro Wrestling as the Cleaner were puzzled by Omega's role in AEW during its first year, with Kenny serving in a supporting role rather than as a featured player like Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, and Cody Rhodes. While Omega certainly wasn't a curtain jerker, some fans were disappointed that his biggest accomplishment was holding the AEW World Tag Team Championship with Hangman Adam Page and helping the Elite during their war against the Inner Circle. Now it looks like year 2 is going to be all about Omega, and fans may see a new AEW World Heavyweight Champion before the end of the year. Next up, DDP says there'll never be anyone as talented as Eddie Guerrero. Diamond Dallas Page is a wrestler with an unlikely success story, a man who didn't begin competing until he was in his 30s, yet reached the top of the mountain in WCW thanks to sheer hard work. The master of the diamond cutter recently appeared on the bump talking about Halloween Havocs he's participated in and the man who made him into a successful wrestler, Eddie Guerrero. DDP talked about working with Guerrero early on in Page's rise to the top and said without Eddie, there would have been no DDP. He elaborated further saying, Eddie was actually the guy that if you were watching my matches, you were like, man, he can really go out there. I had someone who was really willing to work with me. I don't think there will ever be anyone more talented than Eddie. I'd put Eddie right next to Shawn Michaels when it comes to workability. Eddie Guerrero's name still comes up whether it's wrestlers who grew up idolizing him or peers who praise his work and friendship. Next up, Goldberg bursts into tears. Now, professional wrestlers are often thought of as tough guys who never show tender emotions in public, but that wasn't the case when Bill Goldberg sent a special video message to DDP on his aforementioned appearance on the bump. In a tearful segment, Goldberg praised Page saying, DDP, every time that I say your name or think of your name, it brings one of the largest smiles to my face ever. For one reason or another, I can't pinpoint it, it's for many reasons. Your enthusiasm is unparalleled in this business or in the world. Your passion is unparalleled, your knowledge is unparalleled, and your workmanship, your dedication to detail is unparalleled. It's an honor and a privilege to know you. It's an honor and a privilege to be taught by you. I owe everything to you, my man, and I just love you, my man. I just want to tell you. Goldberg's poignant message shows just how much DDP has touched others' lives, whether it's his time in the ring or his work helping others through DDP Yoga. Next up, did NXT trainees file COVID complaints? Now, you might recall our earlier news video detailing how the Orange County Department of Health strike team is investigating a number of locations including Full Sail University, the WWE Performance Center, and the Amway Center as potential coronavirus hotspots. According to Wrestling Inc.'s Raj Giri, someone from within the WWE may have filed formal complaints. Wrestling Inc. learned that it is internally believed that several trainees from the Performance Center and/or NXT talent made formal complaints about daily operations and protocols not being followed. A few weeks ago, a couple of people spoke up at an NXT taping about what they called anti-maskers not following guidelines outside of NXT and training classes while potentially putting others at risk due to their actions. Now, there have been differing stories regarding the use of precautionary measures such as masks, but there's no denying the WWE has had multiple coronavirus outbreaks. The exact number remains unclear, but the WWE does not want the bad publicity of a lax COVID protocol coming out. Next up is Keith Lee getting new theme music. Fans of Keith Lee's NXT run were less than thrilled when the WWE debuted him on Raw with a new entrance theme. Apparently they are looking to fix this mistake, as PW Insider is reporting Keith Lee was in New York City to record vocals for a new entrance song. There's no word on when the song will debut. And finally, Kairi Sane at Hell in a Cell. Last but not least, former WWE superstar Kairi Sane is returning at Sunday's Hell in a Cell, but she won't be wrestling. Instead, she'll be calling the action in the ring for the Japanese commentary team. While Sane is no longer wrestling, Wrestling Inc. reports she still works for the company in Japan in an unknown capacity. But there you have it, guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.